He's done more than all you complaining assholes have done. Or at least the majority of you, unless you're part of an organization that actively works to do this. And why haven't I heard you say that? I'm glad that Dave Chappelle pissed people off. I said I'm glad that Dave Chappelle pissed some people off. At least I know people are alive and awake and people are paying attention, and I'm cool with that, man. Come on now, this is an opportunity for people to sound off. Educate people about trans issues. Make this shit known. Make it known what's going on. I've been learning more about the trans community. Mrs. Black printed me out a document called Unpacking Turf Logic. Now, it tells me what is trans exclusionary radical feminism. TERFs believe trans women aren't women and trans men aren't men. TERFs often feel that trans people are undermining women's rights. So, like, this is a pamphlet that she printed out so I can become educated, because I didn't know what it was. I know some people say that Tulsi Gabbard was a TERF. I didn't know what it was. I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. She anti-black, I know that shit. Yeah, I know that shit. And now, then I heard she was a TERF. I'm like, okay, I believe it. I don't know what it is. It doesn't sound good. Who am I to say who's what? I don't get into that. But see, this is important. That's why this is important, guys, because Dave Chappelle pissed people off and now people are talking. There are statistics about trans people that I had no idea about. See, one of the things I've seen people do, and I think this is a mistake, is that you're saying, oh, we need to cancel these people or cancel this person, when people just don't understand. Like I didn't know about the high death rate. Someone, now I don't know if this is true, but from what I heard, said in my chat, the life expectancy of a trans male, or it's like 36, in the 30s. 30-something years old, and then people are getting murdered. Number one cause of death is murder. Do you think people are walking around, most people are walking around knowing this? No, most people are not walking around knowing this. See, I know they're not, because I'm walking around and I don't know it. And I think I'm a more informed person because I actually cover news for a living. This is my job. This is what I do. I don't do this and go sell real estate. This is how I make a living, and this is what I do. I consume. So if I don't know it, then I'm sure a lot of other people don't know. And it's not because someone's like, Tim Black, I want to tell you some stuff about trans. And I'm like, hell no, get that away from me. I don't want to know nothing. What I look like knowing stuff. So that's not the situation. So this is an opportunity. Now here goes the other side of that. I think some people are taking this as an opportunity for themselves. Yeah, some people take things as an opportunity for themselves to come up. One person's misfortune is another person's come up. Ain't that true? Ain't that what some people do? They take your misfortune and they try to capitalize off of it. That's what people do. It's what happens. Sometimes they mean well, sometimes they don't, but they always mean well for themselves. A friend is a person who means well for you without a come up for themselves. But I think there are some people that are talking right now about Dave Chappelle as to come up for themselves. I mean, because I'm in this business, I know what people do. I know there are people that actually care about these issues. Those are separate people. I'm not saying everybody does that. That's another thing I heard people are doing. People are taking me out of context and taking other people out of context. Everyone's not the same. And I understand that. Do you understand that? Person who's calling up pissed off? Do you understand that there's some things I disagree with, some things I agree with? And there's some people are full of shit and some people aren't. Two different people. This is the part, I don't believe that Dave Chappelle meant harm. You know? I don't think he meant harm. I don't think he's intentionally saying, I want to hurt trans people. I think he is pissed off with gay people who are racist and they're hiding behind the fact that they're gay or LGBTQ as if that means they can't be racist. I think some people who are LGBTQ or trans or maybe floating gender or whatever piss them off at some point. And I stated this earlier at the pause show. When you're a person that creates content or you're a person who's creative and people piss you off, you're going to have a tendency to talk about it because don't nobody control you. Like me, when people piss me off, I talk about it sometimes. Sometimes I'm told I shouldn't do that. I do it anyway. Why? Because don't nobody control me. Nobody tells me what I can talk about or what I can't talk about. And I'm not always going, what do people want me to talk about? I talk about what I want to talk about. And sometimes when people suggest things, I consider if I want to talk about it. And sometimes I do. And sometimes those people are my people who suggest things. But since I'm a person that has my own control over my content, I talk about what I want to talk about. And sometimes if somebody pisses me off, I want to talk about them, even if it's not something I should talk about. I think that Dave Chappelle is a victim of that. That's his own self-induced stuff. Someone pissed him off, something happened, someone got him pissed off, or something's in his crawl about these issues, and he keeps talking about them. Also, guys, I don't think people really get it. He had a comedy special package deal with Netflix, and he names this The Closer, and people says, why is he talking about this? I had to think about it too. He's talking about trans and other issues that he talked about that I'm noticing no one's bringing it up. No one's bringing up all the other stuff he talked about as if his whole show was about this. It wasn't. He had a really good UFO joke in there. There was the most brave, most courageous joke on the subject of UFOs ever. And I'm noticing people are not talking about it. Pretty weird for people on the left not to talk about that. Most courageous UFO joke I've ever heard. If you haven't watched the special, watch the special and then listen to the UFO joke. The other thing is this. Dave Chappelle also made a comment in his special about a friend of his who was transgender named Daphne Dorman. It moved me. It made me feel a certain kind of way. It was very sad. And it was also a true story. Some people are saying, Dave Chappelle said, I had a friend who was trans, so I get to say whatever I want. I don't think that's what he's saying at all. And I think you take him out of context. And I think you don't realize he's smart enough to know you would say that. That's sort of probably why he did it. Yeah, you can't say he's a smart comedian. He's so wise. He's a great speaker. He's a great thinker. He's in-depth. He's like a voice beyond, he's beyond comedy. He's like he's like his finger on the pulse of our times. He's an orator of our times. You can't say that and then say, like the closer of his whole fucking series of work at Netflix, that he did this and didn't know what you would say. See, Dave Chappelle's not Tim Black. He doesn't just get up here and just talk. I mean, even I print out stuff, but Dave Chappelle works on his routine for a while. So you mean to tell me you think a person who is fucking brilliant, a comedic genius, winner of the Mark Twain Award, and not because he's cute, winner of the Mark Twain Award, has a closer for his big deal with Netflix, record-setting comedic deal with Netflix. You think the closer of his special, he didn't think you'd say, Dave Chappelle sounds like a white person saying, I have a black friend. Really? Really? Remember the part where you said you don't cover this type of stuff, but you're going to do it anyway, basically for money, because it wasn't for an in-depth analysis? Maybe you should consider the fact that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, like, I think he planned and he knew you'd do it. And it's like a rub in your face to do it, knowing you said that's the whole point. That's part of the point. You don't think black men are smart enough to 2 + 2 = 4. That's horrible that you would come to that conclusion. That shows laziness. And also it shows A disdain for the black males. Yeah, it shows a disdain for black males. Like, you don't think we're intelligent enough that Dave Chappelle could go, hey, this sounds this way. Not only do you think Dave is stupid, you think all his friends are stupid. I mean, disagree with Talib Kweli is no idiot. Disagree with Mos Def, a.k.a. Yasmin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def, but he's no fucking fool. They've heard him tell his story or tell his bits. He's been working on it at the fucking ranch. Doing their fucking COVID-19 shit. He's been working on his specials. No one just shows up and shoots a special. I've done comedy. I started working on a set. And you add to the set, and you try it out, you keep doing that. This set he didn't come up with that day, so you don't think he's smart, and you don't think anybody around him is smart. You don't think that down there Rollins came up to him at some point like, damn, Dave, you sound like this. Dave's like, shut the fuck up, I know that, man. I'm rich, bitch. Of course I know how it sounds. That's the point. That's the rub. It's like oxymoron. And I'm going to say it anyway. Just to stick it in their face. Listen, that's what I believe. And even if you want to believe that he didn't know what he was doing, that he sounds like a white guy saying, yeah, I say this, but I got a black friend. The story still touched my heart, man. It touched my heart so much that I looked up Daphne Dorman. Not just to do this bit either. It touched me so much that I wanted to look it up, and I felt for this person. I felt for Daphne, and I wish she hadn't committed suicide. And if that's what it made me do, I got a feeling it made other people feel a certain kind of way too. And if that's the case, he's done more than all you complaining assholes have done. Or at least the majority of you, unless you're part of an organization that actively works to do this. And why haven't I heard you say that? If Dave Chappelle made me look up Daphne Dorman, that made me feel a certain kind of way about her story, about her taking her own life, not feeling like she fitted in with her own people, her tribe, if that moved me to tears, well, almost to tears. I'm not an easy crier. But it moved me, it touched me. Why aren't you giving them credit for that? Why aren't you saying, wow? Because I watched a lot of TV. I watched a lot of news. Nobody else talking about trans issues has ever made me want to cry or think about crying or cross the threshold of crying. Ever. And why aren't you guys adding that in your critiques? When people are critiquing Dave, they make that a negative that he brought her up. Thus kind of proving his point that you think black men are fucking idiots. Like a fucking professional. Like Martin Scorsese didn't know that he was going to have Al Pacino whack a guy. Like you would never think that Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather, that he meant to have, that he didn't mean something he had in his movie. You would never think that. But you'll think a comedian who works on a set for months, who does it on the largest platform with a big, humongous deal, closing out a stand-up, 5-part stand-up. Wasn't it number 5? That's won the Mark Twain Awards. You think he's so fucking lazy and shiftless and a dumb nigga that he would just go up there and just wing it. That's what you think. But you love black men, don't you? And I'm not just talking to white people or white men or white women. I'm talking about some of you black sisters as well. I saw some of your content. Some people sent me your shit. I'm wondering why. That is that's fucking offensive as hell. That's really what they think about them. That's what they think about us. That's what you think of this show too, don't you? That there's no thought, that there's no intelligence. It's a guy talking loud, huh? Just a big black brute. Speaking loud. Ranting and raving. trampling on feelings with no concern for others. And you really think that this person doesn't actually care about black people? Though he goes out of his way to stand up for black people and call out white supremacy, you think he doesn't care about black people just because they're trans or gay? That's really what you think. You know, maybe it's possible Dave Chappelle just has a little bit of something crawled up his ass about how gay people treat black people, by and large. Case in point, Ed Buck killed how many black men in the gay community did what about it? I'll wait. Nothing is what they did about it. Not a goddamn thing. Ed Buck, rich white guy. Democrats too. Democrats didn't care, and by and large, the gay community did not give a shit. At least I didn't hear about it from the gay community. Maybe those are the people he was talking about. Unfortunately, there's some black gay people and some black trans people who feel that Dave Chappelle has erased them. I don't know Dave personally. I know Ben Jealous. Ben Jealous ran for governor of Maryland. Ben Jealous, I think they're considered like his fathers. Their fathers were best friends or something. I think they consider themselves cousins. I don't know if they really are. I know when I went to Silver Spring to interview Ben Jealous, we talked. I know when I did a couple rallies and I covered Ben Jealous when he was running for governor and Bernie was there campaigning. Was hoping Dave would be there. He wasn't there when I did that, but that was in Silver Spring, where Dave is from. All I'm saying is, I don't know the point of that. I guess I just wanted to name drop a little bit. But I don't know Dave Chappelle, but I got a feeling that you're wrong to say he doesn't care about people. I think he does. I think it's really hard to do the work he's been doing, not to care about people. And I think it's unfortunate some people think he doesn't care about black trans people. I think there's a problem that people think that just because people are gay or floating genders or binary or non-binary or trans, that those people can't be racist as hell. As a person, as I stated earlier today on my pause show, who's worked in Washington, D.C. in federal government contracting, D.C. is a very diverse area. If you have a problem working with gay people or people who are other than cisgender people, straight people, you ain't gonna survive in D.C. Let me tell you. Let me also tell you, when it comes to the hierarchies in professional settings in D.C., black men are at the bottom and it's way beneath gay men, okay? And I meant nothing by that. You're way faster called back for a job, way faster accepted in these spaces if you are a gay man or a bi man or a trans man as compared to a black heterosexual man. No one thinks you're violent when you're gay. There's all these stereotypes people know of. They say this shit, but I'm trying to tell you, the stereotypes that gay men, that black men get, straight black men get, way more detrimental to your career and to your livelihood. But I guess you don't have to believe me because some woman somewhere said it. Because she knows what it's like. Maybe she does in her own mind, but I'm telling you what I've experienced, and all we know is what we know, right? And just for the record, there are a lot of racist comedians. Or comedians I think that are very racist. Nick DiPaolo is one of them. I can't stand Nick DiPaolo. Never did like Anthony Cumia. And I have no tolerance for Adam Carolla. You want to cancel somebody, why don't you start with those fuckheads? None of them have received any awards. But, you know, they just hate black people. Not the same thing. I think there's something to be learned for all of us. All of us can learn something all the time, every day. But I do not feel, personally, I do not feel, how can I say this? If there are people that were upset by what Dave says, I think they have every right to voice their opinion. I'm not somebody who feels that people should not be able to complain, disagree, talk shit, or even call for canceling. I don't think he should be canceled, but you should be able to call for whatever you want. I think this is how we move discourse. I think it's better Dave say something as you disagree than nobody say anything, because we get to have the conversation. That's the beauty of it. That's what's good about it. I care about all black people. I want all of us to get reparations. I don't care who you sleep with or what you identify as. And I want all of us to get a black agenda. That's what I want. I think we deserve that. We're owed that. That's what America owes us. So that's where I stand. So please, with your critiques, begin them with that. And I think everyone deserves to be human, to treat with human dignity. I don't think to make a joke about someone removes their human dignity. And I don't think Dave, unlike Anthony Cumia, Adam Carolla, or Nick DiPaolo, I don't think they think you're less than a human being. And I don't think they think something's wrong with you as a person. Like you're a different, I don't know, man. Whenever I heard, especially Nick DiPaolo, the things he said about black people were just racist things. That's how I felt. It's been a while since I listened to him. I don't think he's cleaned up his act. But anyway, maybe there's a group of black people going around trying to get him canceled. I don't know. I know you couldn't pay me to watch him. I know that shit. So, yeah. Like I stated, I think this is a good conversation. I think it's good to have it. And I don't think this conversation would be had if it wasn't for this moment. And this moment is brought to you by Dave Chappelle. And I think it's a good time for people to learn. It's a learning moment. And I hope people use it as that. And if anyone's a fucking idiot and tries to use it to actually hurt trans people, lock their ass up. Lock them the hell up. Because I know some people are saying this puts trans people in jeopardy. I think that's crazy. That's what, if that's the case, that's crazy shit. And those people should go directly to jail for a very long time, Johnson. That's what I think. That's what I believe. And I hope you do it. Send me a story of somebody reacting on Dave Chappelle and trying to hurt a trans person. You know what I'm saying? Since he has this ongoing back and forth with the trans community, it gives them an opportunity every time he says something that they get to talk. And people have to listen. And I don't think typically people would be listening. I don't think they would be getting big spreads and papers. I don't think people would notice like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't want to make this sound jacked up. And I've seen some people so vehement that I don't want to be taken that way. But I'm just saying, I think when he says something, it gives a forum when otherwise they wouldn't have that forum. Get what I'm saying? It gives these activists a forum to express grievances and to air out things in a way because the mainstream media largely ignores them. You get what I'm saying? So I think Dave knows it. That's all I'm saying, guys. I think Dave's aware that he's so big when he talks and they respond, they get some ink. Look, I know how this works. There are people that I had a problem with on the left. When I talked about them, they wouldn't respond. They didn't want to help me. They didn't want to give me the time of day. And there were people, regardless of what my criticisms were, who said, I like when they do that. That's right, don't respond to him. because they felt that my critiques of the left not respecting black people, not focusing on black issues, did not warrant a response from these people. And some of those people were black. And one comes to mind right now that I'm thinking about. So this is not just a racial issue. But the fact that they felt it was better and smoother and cooler and wiser and more savvy to not respond to critiques from the largest black independent media on the left, who had been in this media longer than most of them, or at least some of them. They were fine with no response. But what I'm telling you is Dave Chappelle, he knows when he does his special, he tells these jokes that when they respond, you know he has to know they're going to respond. He has to know that they're going to get a forum. I don't think he has a problem with that. And I think that may even be part of it, may be the reason to give them a forum. Because he has to be smart enough to know that's what's going to happen. I don't know. That's how I see it. I know some people are saying he's just a rich guy who doesn't care about anything. I just don't get that. I don't get that. It's real easy to make black people, to make black men in particular, evil, crude brutes, no matter how bright they are. I know it happened to me. Didn't matter what kind of show I have, what kind of community I've grown, the people that I brought on, the issues that I cover, doesn't matter. They painted me as a brute, somebody who said horrible things, and people defended it because of this right here. This skin and this man. That's why, because I'm this man. I'm this color. I'm this shade of this color, and I talk like this. So that's why. That's the only reason why. They accused Jimmy Dore of that. They didn't even want to accuse Jimmy Dore of looking up someone's dress. That was too far for them. But you could accuse me of threatening to do certain things of a very intrusive nature when I wasn't even accused of that by that person. This is a racist-ass country, and the left is racist as hell. And that's a perfect example of it. But I'm going to move on, Ty, man. I appreciate you, Ty. When I was in my early 20s, we're talking late 90s, I was a supervisor. I was a government contractor at Department of Justice. This is just over 20 years ago, so do the math. I had on a white shirt and a tie, I'll never forget. Some older black women came out of their office. An older black woman came out of her office one day. This had to be like 97, 98. And she said, "Young man, I just want you to know, we are so glad when we see you." I'm like, "What you mean?" No, she was much older. She had at least 20 years on me, right? And she said, "Me and the ladies were just talking. We were just saying how it's so great to see a black man here who ain't pushing a mail cart. You stay doing what you're doing. You make us so proud." This was 1982. This was 1976. This wasn't some rural place where there are no black people. This is Washington, D.C. Department of Justice, Office of Litigation Support, OLS Division. And I got fools calling up here. I don't know what your real life has been. I've been some places. I've done some things. I've had some experiences. I was born tonight, but I wasn't born last night. And I got these fools. And I tell you, man, some of the things people say on the internet, I know they're just saying it to make money. Black men are privileged. My goodness. Charlemagne, that title was a horrible title. But I guess to you it was a good title because it helped sell books, right? I hated it ever since I saw that title, bro. And I know that probably won't win me no awards or no opportunities on your platform, as if you would give me one anyway. And if that's the deciding factor, well, it is what it is. Just got to work harder so I don't need it. But I always thought the title of your book was dog shit. Because people use that and think it's true. There is no black male privilege in this country. Unless you mean maybe getting locked up first or getting fired first and hired last. Shout out to my caller. Sometimes the peacekeeper has to carry a peace. Goodness gracious. Give it up.